What's up? I'm hanging here with Gary Holt from Exodus, Charlie Benante of Anthrax. Of course, these dudes are out on tour together right now, along with the dudes in BLS coming at us this morning live from Corbin, Kentucky. What's going on, guys? How you feeling?
I've felt better, but the tour is awesome.
I woke up to sun and a bit of warmth today, so I was like, "Yes, today's gonna be a good day."
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
the
my
tour's
bunk's
finally.
actually hot.
Dude, that's rad. You guys are headed south. You're out of the snow. You did it.
Thank
Winter
goodness.
tour success.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
Sort of. Yeah, I was reading about how the tour started out, man. You guys are wild for being out there in the winter. Good on you.
No, that wasn't my idea, but I'm happy to be here.
Um, I jumped at this opportunity to talk to you guys because I think it's really unique to talk to two people from two different bands in the same interview. Kind of like gives me vibes of reading old guitar magazines and shit when everyone would be answering in the same, the same interview. So I thought it'd be cool to talk to you guys, and especially because between Anthrax and Slayer and Exodus, I think you guys have probably played like 4 million shows together, like the two of you specifically.
Yeah,
So,
really.
I mean, I've toured more with Charlie and company
Yeah.
than any band on earth, going back to 1987. And it's awesome. We always have a good time. We've been friends forever. And Slayer, obviously, we did like scores of tours together. So,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first time I met Gary was at the Kabuki Theater in 1984, and I was a big Exodus fan then too. And as Gary knows, I love their first album. We don't need to go into that because there was so much controversy because I said that was like I thought the best thrash metal album, and then people were like, "No fucking way!" Like, shut the fuck up,
thanks, Charlie.
It's my personal opinion. That's it. It doesn't mean that it's everybody's. But yeah, meeting him for the first time, we were on tour, and I think it was Exodus played, and we were with Raven too.
Raven. Yep.
And it was my first time being in San Francisco, and man, was that like a serious life-changing experience, because growing up in New York, we had a lot of punk and hardcore bands, and going to those shows, it was absolutely insane. And then when we went to San Francisco and we saw it with like a lot of long hair, it was a complete like, wow, this happens here too, So it was, anyway, go back to your question.
I mean, for the record, I'll throw it out there. Bonded by Blood is easily the greatest thrash album ever. So, Charlie, I'm with you on that one, dude.
You guys could have a career as fluffers. Thanks. It means a lot to all of us.
Dude,
But the thing that people don't understand is like why I said that. It's not something I came up with yesterday. This is going back to the days in the 80s when there wasn't much of that music. And I really think Bonded by Blood influenced Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. And that's what I meant. I'm not saying like, oh, it's better than any of those records that those bands produced. I'm just saying it was very influential. So to me, it has sentimental value too. That's what I mean. I should have clarified that in the first interview, but I didn't.
No, it's all great. I mean, people ask me what's the greatest thrash album of all time. I always straight up say Master of Puppets. I think it's the greatest metal album of all time.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a metal album ever been made. And it's neck and neck between Master of Puppets and Judas Priest Stained Class for me. But, like the clean section in Master of Puppets, come on, that's like some Beethoven level shit James wrote.
I think that record is probably their signature album of all time. And I know the Black Album was a big, big record for them, and it pretty much made them, household names. But I think for me too, Master of Puppets from start to finish, can't touch it. Flawless.
Can't touch it. It's flawless.
okay. So we got Master Puppets, 70s Judas Priest, and Bonded by Blood. Got it. Cool.
I mean, if you gave me like, if I had to give you what I felt was a signature record from every band, for me, the Judas Priest record, I would pick maybe British Steel though, because that to me was the defining moment in that band. Everything just came. That was it. British Steel is it for me. If I had to pick, AC/DC, I'd probably have to say Back in Black because
I mean, Stained Glass is my favorite Priest album. I don't consider it their signature album. It's just, the album's badass, you know? I mean, to me, their signature album, probably Screaming for Vengeance, it just took them to a whole nother level,
Yeah.
Dude, Stained Glass.
Power record. Like, fucking rad.
Dude,
Stained Glass is very evil. The riffs on that record are just, I don't know, man.
Dark. It's very dark.
It's like speed metal gets like invented too. Like Exciter's like that tune is like literally speed metal happening, right? The drums, the riff, like that is the creation of it right there.
Totally. That's it. Yeah.
Totally.
And then the namesake for a pretty fucking cool band too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Charlie, you kind of touched on it when you talked about, going to the West Coast for the first time and seeing the long hairs and coming from more of like a New York hardcore world. We hear about it a lot in hip hop, but I don't think we talk about it enough in metal. And I'm interested to know what was like the East Coast versus West Coast mentality in that era, when you guys had that much more punk influence and the New York scene versus going out to the Bay and, rolling with guys like Exodus and Dark Angel and Testament being completely different sound.
That's the funniest thing to me is how we were from New York, but we dressed like we were from the West Coast. It was so stupid, but our mentality and our sound was very much, formed from that kind of East Coast type of New York, punk sound with Judas Priest, Iron Maiden influence.
Exactly.
It's a very strange thing. And those guys out there, I mean, the West Coast punk scene to me was different from the New York punk, but yet it was the same thing, It was a lot of attitude and just, man, so much aggression. And I think that's what we picked up on was the aggression.
Exactly. I mean, with Exodus, our punk influences were strictly UK punk, my next older brother was a hardcore punk. He even went on a punk pilgrimage to the UK, long before I ever went to England. And he's the guy who turned me on to Discharge and Exploited and Sham 69 and UK Subs and all this shit. And we just took, everything from the AC/DC to the Judas Priest to the, Black Sabbath and, Blackfoot and all these other bands that I grew up worshiping, Montrose, Rainbow, and we just like fucking put it in a pot and stirred it around with huge servings of Discharge, and then he got Bonded by Blood,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's the recipe right there for as we said, the greatest thrash metal album of all time.
You said that.
Hey man, that's all me. I'll own it. Charlie, were you guys like, did you love that you were like from New York and feel that you fit in that scene, or was the goal always to like go out and play in the West Coast with those kind of bands?
I don't think we ever thought about that too much. I mean, we just thought about playing with any band,
Yeah.
That to us, like if we could get a show opening for this band, we were like, yeah. So we would do it no matter where it was. I remember we did a show with Crocus and Blackfoot, and we opened up. It was at the Civic Center in somewhere in Massachusetts, and I remember feeling like, wow, we made it. You know what I mean? But we didn't make it. We just enjoyed being in the context of Blackfoot and Crocus, and here we were, But these are the little things that take you to the bigger things, We would always say we play a show, and it's so cliche to say this, but like you're playing the Garden or something like that. But when you're young, you have all these ideas and these hopes and aspirations, and you want to get to where that band is, you know? So
Yeah.
every year you just keep working harder and harder and harder till you get something. And that's how it was. I know Gary can attest to that.
Yeah. Scott's told me the stories about how you guys got the Blackfoot Crocus dates. It's so awesome. It's just a great story.
Dude.
Just the whole, like, you know, kids, you know, just like, all right, we've never done anything like this, and we're going to play these fucking big venues, and we have no idea what we're doing aspect. And Scott gave me all the breakdown. It's really awesome. It's an amazing story.
What did
This is very, sorry, go ahead.
just how, like, what did you guys like beg to get on the bill? Like, how did this come to be? What's the crazy story?
I mean, I don't remember how we got on the bill. I think it was Johnny Z.
That's what Scott said. Yeah.
Knew the promoter that a band canceled and they needed a band. So we just got a bunch of friends to get together. You're going to do sound tonight. You're going to do this tonight. And I remember borrowing Johnny Tempest's drum kit to get up there and do this gig. So it was, those were those kind of days when any means necessary, you had to do it, you know?
Yeah.
That's rad.
That's basically what Scott told me. You know, it was like kids who were used to, like, you know, piling their gear in and showing up and into some, you know, rec room club thing, and then like and not having any idea what the protocol is to play a venue like these, you know, and just like flying by the seat of your pants, you know, just like having to ask questions and figure out where to fucking go and shit. It was really awesome because we
Exactly.
Blackfoot are total heroes of mine too. And that's Scott brought it up to me because I think it's somewhere someday we were talking about Blackfoot, you know.
It's total trial by fire. That's awesome. Just fucking throw yourself into it. Hell
Well,
yeah.
what a great experience. And many years later, we played a festival in France called RIFFS, and Leonard Skinner were also on the bill that day. And we saw Ricky Medlock, and we told him the story about playing with Blackfoot. And he's like, was that somewhere in Massachusetts? And I'm like, yeah, he remembered it.
Yeah, Ricky's like, he's an awesome dude, right? You know, when Tempesta was in the band, we covered Good Morning as a B-side, you know? And this is back in the day when I slept till 1 o'clock probably, you know. I get this call at like 6 in the morning, and I wake up angry because who the fuck's calling me at 6 in the morning? And on the other end, I just heard, "Wake and bake, it's your old buddy Ricky Medlock." And I'm like, what the fuck? No, it's not. Who the fuck are you? Fuck you, dude. Like, finally he convinced me it's him. He had heard our cover of Good Morning on Z-Rock while in Michigan, and he was doing a video show then. And he said he pulled over to the emergency lane on the freeway. He couldn't believe it. And
that's awesome.
To listen to it. And he got my number and called, and we, like, you know, communicated for a while off and on because, you know, I mean, they're one of my all-time favorite bands. And I saw him at Hellfest, same as you did. And he remembered all that shit.
Awesome.
Dude,
man.
That's so cool.
We called
The whole
before all hammered, you know, Ricky, it's me. And he remembered,
the story
of wasted.
The story of Ricky Medlock to me is such a great story because he was in the original Skinner, but he was the drummer.
Yeah.
And he split and he formed Blackfoot, which was successful on their own too. And then he comes back to being in Skinner.
Yeah. Original drummer, and he's that amazing of a guitar player and singer, you know. Just crazy. But back then, I think guys used to learn whatever instrument they needed. You know, a band needed drummer, I could play drums. Steven Tyler's a drummer, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I
But
mean,
he can also play a fucking piano and sing his ass off, you know? It's kind of crazy, you know? Now I feel one-dimensional.
yeah, dude, I want to be able to play fucking drums and guitar as good as you do, Charlie. You're a fucking sick-ass guitar player, dog.
I'm Ricky Medlock. No,
You're the Ricky Medlock of our time. There you go. Let's go.
If I could only sing.
I think it's really cool that like Anthrax and Exodus both, you know, came up together in the same time and total undisputed legends of the genre. However, you know, some bands that also hold that stature aren't able to be considered classic and also contemporary the way that both of your bands are. You guys, you know, both release new music and you're both actively out there filling arenas. I'm wondering what the key is to like nailing it with the OGs and keeping all those people happy that have been there since day one, but also to bringing in new fans and like a whole new era of young metalheads. I'm sure we're seeing at all these shows. What's that key to pleasing everyone and to keep building it at this point in the game?
I don't know. You just can't fake it, you know. Like I go up on stage with the sole purpose of bending the audience to my evil will. And you got to go out and give it to them. And, we still do. And Anthrax totally rages on stage, like, I'm not going to let a bunch of young kids show me up. Fuck that.
I mean, the thing about it is, to me, is like, I say this all the time. You have to have it in you from the beginning, because if you had it in you from the beginning, there's no way you're going to lose it now. We still have this thirst, this quench for it. You know what I mean? We're still hungry. And when I hear other bands trying to come up with new material and they can't, I always say to myself, maybe they never had it in the first place. Maybe it wasn't really from the heart in the first place. Because the last Exodus record, I remember when I heard the first 3 songs, I texted guy, this shit is fucking heavy, dude, So I know that they're still from the heart.
Riffs. Riffs are fun.
It's all about the riff.
I'll write you a riff right now. Bam, there goes one. I'm looking at a guitar in the corner. I go write a riff right now. Riffs writing's that's my life's blood, I'm still searching for the riff. I'm still searching for the tone. Like it never ends. I'm still buying gear to improve my sound, and my sound's pretty fucking good. I'm into it. That's just it. I'm into it still. I still love the shit.
I've never told you this, Gary. I've always referred to you in my friend circle as the original riff miner. You've always been about the motherfucking riff since day one, dude. And it's Persona non grata is full of them, dude. You're still somehow mining the coolest riffs. I don't know where you're pulling these things from, but they're rad, dude. Record's full of them.
Searching, never stop looking.
Hell yeah.
What's funny is I read one review of the album. I think it was Blabbermouth. The album got like some of the most glowing reviews of our lives, but Blabbermouth always finds something to say. It's too long, even though it's no longer than our peers' records. And I think it said, if Gary Holt wrote a riff, you can pretty much bet that it made it on this album. I'm like, no, I got thousands that didn't. I got so many that didn't make it. You're tripping, fool.
Only the best makes the final cut. Hell yeah.
No, sometimes some of the best shit gets overlooked because I'm super OCD about riffs. I'll move on to the next one because it's the latest shiny object that's got my attention. And Tom Honey will make me go back and listen to other stuff, and then we'll find these like total like gems that I'd like, I got something new. And like, let's listen to the other 1,000 of voice recorder notes you got on your phone. We do it, and sometimes we're like, favorite song comes out of that shit.
That's exactly how it should be too, because I'll make these demos and I'll send it to the guys, and sometimes they're like 6-7 minutes long. But the reason why I make it so long is because if I played the riff in the first minute one way, by the time the 5-minute mark comes, it's twisted and it's different. So maybe that's a little better than the first way. You know what I mean? So I try and put as much as I could in that demo. It just to me, it just makes sense.
Yeah, we've all had that moment where the final riff that goes on a record, you're like, someone will say that, love that riff. Yeah, but you should have heard it before. I couldn't quite remember how I had it. It was even better. And I never got it back because I didn't hit record. I mean, I'll do things like go into my phone notes and just tab out shit, like a riff I get in my head and I don't have a guitar handy. I'll just tab the notes out, just to try to remember the sequence,
I'm like humming in my phone sometimes. I'll be in Starbucks waiting online. I'll be like, boom, 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 boom. Hang on a minute,
Totally looking like a lunatic.
Looking like a lunatic.
Sitting there, gun, 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 gun. Good.
can absolutely confirm that Gary is a professional tabber. I recall one day I put like a Bonded by Blood cover on the internet, and he messaged me on Instagram. He's like, "You're playing it wrong. Here's the tab." And literally just like typed it out. It's like pretty impressive. I can't do that shit. That's cool.
Nobody plays the bonded riffs right.
No one gets the pull off. I know now. I play it right. You schooled me.
Yeah, but I never fucked with tab in my life till I had to learn Slayer songs, and then it's a wealth of information and a wealth of bad tab out there. But you start learning how to like decipher through the good and bad, and it was instrumental in like learning songs. Carrie will say, "Hey, I need you to learn At Dawn They Sleep." Okay. All right, that's a lot. And, and you'll find some kid on YouTube who's got it down, and little do they know they help put that song back on stage,
There you go. So now everyone knows that, Gary's learning songs the same way that all of us learn songs, watching videos of other kids playing it on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pantera says he learns half the shit from YouTube,
Wild.
Because you get some guy who's dedicated all that time for you. He's put in the countless hours, and you could just slow his hands down, or he's playing at half speed already anyway, and you piggyback off all of his hard work. Thank you for that.
It's true. Yeah, doing the hard work for us, so we just get to play it on stage and have the glory. Appreciate you, YouTube.
Dude, just go unappreciated.
You guys have another interview to catch right after this, so I'm going to let you fuck off, but I'd be totally remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge Charlie and I both wearing Kiss shirts. I knew you were a Kiss fan coming into this. I saw the covers. Who the fuck covers Take Me? It's like, you're my dude. That's the song I would cover. I got to ask you, though, saw the Pantera pics from the back of the stage perspective and noticed a very familiar symbol on your back. That's a Peter Criss 3, my dude.
Well, yes, it's a Peter Criss 3, but it's also an ode to Daryl. Daryl would always do this 3. It's a thing with us. 3 comes up all the time for me on my phone. I'll see it somewhere, and it's like it's his way of kind of reaching out in a way. So the 3 on my back is for Daryl. It's a kind of an homage to Peter Criss.
Yeah, so we all got our numbers. Mine's 7, so I got my 777s on my finger. 7 comes up everywhere for me. I should start playing dice.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, 7s and 3s, very, very fitting to choose the Kiss tribute, as Daryl was obviously probably the biggest Kiss fan the universe ever saw. So love to see it. Kiss Army for life, man. Charlie, great to talk to you. Gary, always a pleasure. I'm gonna come out to the Anaheim show. That's the last show on the tour. I'll hit you.
Awesome. We'll see you there, Daniel.
Hell yeah. We'll get a hang and we'll nerd out. Charlie, I'm gonna bring you a little Kiss gift. I got something cool for you.
Oh, I love this. Thank you.
Kiss Army looks out for each other, brother. That's how we do it. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Have a great day, guys. Pleasure chatting.
All right, Daniel. Good talking to you again.
Later, man.
Later, bro. I'll see you.